Hi, my name is Kim Izzarelli, and this is Insights with Kim Izzarelli, and welcome to the show. This is my first show. I'm very excited about it. I've been thinking about it for a long time, and I'm happy to share this moment with you today as we figure it out as we go along. You may know me. I was an assembly candidate for the 95th Assembly. I ran unsuccessfully. I'd like to think successfully in some ways to win that seat, but I didn't. And it was, in fact, a wonderful experience for me to campaign. I got to meet many of you and also had an opportunity to learn a lot about our community and media, how information is distributed, how people learn more about our community and how it works. And through that experience, when the election was over, I said, you know, there really is a need to have more community television where people can get the honest, respectful truth about what's happening in their village, their municipality, in their school district, in the state, even the country, if we want to continue the discussion out that far in the political plane. So I put some thought into what kind of show I'd like to put together. And I think it's really important to have local community members come on and just talk. You don't get this type of honesty, this type of communication, this kind of delivery through something like a quick article in the newspaper or some of the local cable access, cable channels actually. People just aren't given that much time to have this type of in-depth discussion. So I will be inviting a lot of folks on that are, I think, interesting, have great stories to tell, that will improve your quality of life, that will give you information that you need to know about. It might be a reporter who's covering something interesting. It might be someone who provides a service in the community. It might be a mental health provider. It might be someone who provides family planning services. It could be a number of things, but I'm just happy to provide the forum for it to happen and for you to write in questions about things that you want to see more of or to critique me. So a slide will come up at some point with my email address on. It's very simple to find. It's kimizzarelli@gmail.com. Or you can just go on social media, which is not that hard to find me there. I'm on Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn, so it's not at all difficult to communicate with me. So I think that kind of gives you the structure of the format that I want to follow, and it's been an incredibly busy week this week. I was, I guess, starting with the weekend, I went down to the Rockaways to walk with folks who just were devastated through Hurricane Sandy, and really to be part of a march to get the federal funding that our shoreline communities needed throughout the Northeast. And fortunately, successfully, that bill was passed yesterday in Congress. And I think, you know, as a fiscal conservative, this was a time where we in the Northeast really had to put our foot down and say, look, this was something that needed to be done. This is the kind of funding that we needed to have. We needed this exception here to have our communities rebuilt, and it was the right thing to do. And it was really fascinating to watch all the debate yesterday, honestly. But I'm so glad that we're finally having this discussion in this country about what is the right thing to do and when is it right to make exceptions, especially about spending and this debate, this dialogue about fiscal conservatism. So I'm happy with the outcome of that. It's not perfect, I realize, for everyone, but I think it was the right thing to do. I was also on Monday up in Albany lobbying for family planning funding and passage of some upcoming legislation that will really benefit women, particularly women who are not affluent, who are dependent on family planning services that are provided throughout the state. And I was really proud as a Republican to be part of this effort. I would like to see more Republicans taking a mainstream view and getting behind these issues, women and men. We need to be doing this. I think if we learned anything about the outcome of the election in November, is that family planning is something that 7 out of 10 Americans are behind. They want it. They want to see the government involved in the funding of it. It's a good investment to make. For every dollar that is spent, $4 is saved in Medicaid costs, and to me that's smart. Those are the types of cost benefits that make sense. So it was an interesting day. It was the first day of the legislative session, and although I hadn't planned to be there, I was there. And I was thrilled to be there, and I was thrilled to be there in the capacity that I was there. I think the tone in Albany is a little different now compared to years past. People are a little bit more serious. It's not a free-for-all that it once was. You don't seem to find people in the country club mode, I guess is the way that I'd refer to what the tone was of the prior culture. But it's definitely, whether you like Andrew Cuomo or not, an environment where people are pushing and moving forward. And I think, in contrast to the country club mode, that's a good thing. You're going to see some rifts. You're going to see some people unhappy with the process, but it's productive. And that's, to me, a far better place to be. I would just like to see the focus, as a Republican, on what I think is our real critical issue as a state right now, and that is on the funding for our municipalities and the tax, property tax reform measures that need to be made. One area that I really want to spend a lot of time on, especially this spring, is funding for our local school boards and school elections. Will start to become a process as the budgets are put up, and many times parents will want to go and speak, and they're uncomfortable. They're not really sure what to say, what to ask, when they should speak, if they should defer. And I really, a lot of my political involvement post having children started with school board and involvement in going to speak before them and ask for various things. And I think it's a really healthy, good process for a community, regardless whether you have children or not, whether you're a business owner, any type of property owner, homeowner, to be part of the process, because we all pay taxes. We are all influenced by the outcome of the children that we have graduate from our schools, and we should all have some say in it. And I really want to educate and inform people about what's happening, but the net that hasn't changed since prior to the election is that you had 300 municipalities and many school districts that are in pretty bad shape throughout the state. You had 100 municipalities that did not have enough cash start going into 2013 to get through the year. So nothing has really changed, truthfully, honestly. I know it's the sort of the idea that the curtains have closed and you hear a lot of noise behind in the performance, and the curtains open and the furniture in the same place. Nothing has really changed on the fiscal front in New York State, except that we've acquired more debt and we've increased the amount of spending. but the revenues are still down and may even continue to decline depending on the economic recovery. So in plain English, that means that there will be cuts, or the necessity to make cuts everywhere. And I think we need to go into this not emotionally, but just community by community, well informed, and making good long-term decisions. One of the things that you'll see today, if you take a peek at the paper, is the number of municipalities and school districts in the state that lack long-term financial plans. And it's really kind of hard for me to even think about that. I mean, imagine running your home without any sort of budget or plan. I guess you could even say the same is true for the country, the number of days that it's gone without a budget. But just on a local level, you as a citizen really have a right to ask, what is our long-term plan? How are we paying for these huge capital improvements that need to be made? You know, ask questions, be inquisitive, don't be embarrassed to go. It's not, you're not a bad person, you're not anti-education, you're not better or worse than someone else. You are just being an informed citizen, and you have the right to know, and the information should be provided to you. And so I think that's just an area that we have to continue to be diligent and encouraging. Another area that I'm really emotionally, I guess this is where my soft spot is just about our communities, and really sort of in the aftermath of the tragedies that occurred late last year. Looking just to see that we have support systems in our communities for individuals who are frail. And I think there's a discussion that personally I just haven't seen. A lot of politicians and folks looking to react and do things and pass gun legislation. And you know, you can say what you want about Greg Ball, but I think he hit the nail right on the head by saying this is really a mental health issue. And that I'm not really sure anything has been done or is improved on. Tragedies happen when someone does fall through the cracks. And I became committed really to this a few years ago. I had someone who was a very important, very influential to me, committed suicide. And I always said to myself after that point that I would push myself to be more aware, more sensitive to situations or individuals that are having problems in life. You know, there's really always sort of this thing, particularly with men, to, you know, show this face that maybe really isn't reflective of what's going on inside. And I think when we look at this particular family, there really hasn't been a lot said or discussed about it. But how do we support families that are in crisis? And is wealth really a factor here that people ignore how a family is supported? I personally find the suburbs to be an incredibly lonely place to be at times. And I think that there are a lot of people who would probably join me in that opinion, depending where they are in life. But we all need to reach out to each other. We all need to look that when a family does fall apart, go through divorce, experience some type of crisis, lose, you know, an infant or another member of the family, that we need to support that family emotionally. They're all part of our community. And I will have on as a guest in a few weeks, I'm very happy to say, a close friend of mine who is an advocate for special needs children. And special needs children become special needs adults. And this is probably an area where we have not been quite successful in bridging what happens when a child who has been, under the roof at 17, 18, 19, 20, turns 21. How as a society do we embrace or support that situation? So I'm really pleased to have her here. A few others have also agreed to come on. And I would just add that this is a tough format. When you see something that's on the Today Show in the morning, I look at that and I'm like, it's a piece of cake. 4 or 5 minutes is a lot, but this piece that I'm doing for you today is, 20, 25 minutes, maybe a little bit more, straight through, without a break, without editing. Maybe I'll even take a break and have a sip of water in a few minutes, but I'm not a person who does this for a living. I'm just like you, and I'm an ordinary community member who stepped up and decided to do this and take on a show and inform you. And so for me to communicate and bring in guests, I would just submit to you, this is a tough thing for guests to do, and be respectful. If you see them in the store or something, just say, hey, thank you. I really appreciate that you took the time to come on, to do Kim's show, to give us that information. The people that work here at Cablevision who provide this fabulous studio that we're very fortunate to have. I don't have a studio like this in my community, but here in Peekskill, it's part of the contract that Cablevision provides a studio to the community for its use. At least it is right now, and I'm very, very grateful to Cablevision and the community in Peekskill for providing this medium. I think it's important. It's great information that you need to have, and want to continue to have that. So, when you speak with Mary Foster or other council members in Peekskill, say, hey, thank you for asking Cablevision to provide this service to our community, because it's really important, and we don't really get this information anywhere else. So I think that thank you goes a long way, and the more of them, the better. So. One other issue I wanted to just bring up, it's kind of out of sync with the election cycle, but I think it's just something that people need to be sensitive to. You'll hear a lot this year about campaign finance reform, and I'm not going to go there today. It's pretty involved stuff, but you may want to start to read up about it. I would like to have somebody to come on to talk about it. But one of the issues that I was very sensitive to during the campaign, and I, again, didn't see much in the press about this, and at least not after the primary season, was the number of uncontested races in New York State. And I think this is really something that, as citizens, as part of our democracy, we really need to be sensitive to the number of races or the number of challengers who are not challenged, or number of incumbents that aren't, actually I said that wrong, number of incumbents that aren't challenged, and what it is taking just financially for a challenger to come up and challenge an incumbent. I think the number, it was close to half of the Senate seats were uncontested elections. And so, you have to understand right away that the public is not served. I don't care who comes up against the incumbent, but the public is not served if the politician cannot get up and have someone to debate against. Number one, of course you want to have a challenger who's intelligent, who knows the issues, who has a chance at becoming an elected official. But we're really losing in this equation, because more and more you're finding that you do not have a pool of people to step up. It's a huge commitment. I mean, it's a sacrifice. It's something, of course, you really have to want to do in your heart to be an elected official. But to just not have a race or a challenger in a race is a real loss for a community. And if you take a map of Westchester and you start to highlight the areas that did not have challengers, it's a pretty huge piece of Westchester. I haven't done it in other counties or parts of the state. I live in Briarcliff, and so I'm just using this as an example, where there was just very, very little chance of a change in representation. And when that happens, you just really never know. Are you getting the best person you could have? Is that person really taking chances or pushing themselves as hard as they possibly can, because it's just easy knowing that you're going to have all the support of unions, or knowing you're going to have all the support of the party, to just take the easy route and say yes and pass the legislation that maybe isn't the best. And so I really ask you to be sensitive to this and look at this, because it's being in the minority party in the state, being a Republican, it is something that concerns me. So enough on that. And another area that I hope to turn some attention to is boring, snore, is just binding interest arbitration. Will come up in the legislative agenda this year, and bottom line, we'll spend a lot more time talking about it in the next show with another guest, but the net is this is an area that affects our municipal budgets greatly, and we're not hearing anything about it, we're not seeing anything about it. Why? And the answer is it's just simply something that politicians don't want to talk about. So with that, I will just ask how many minutes I've got left in the okay, and just throw it back out to you to ask to please write in and let me know what you want to hear more about. Is it the property tax issues? Is it about representation in government? Is it about the political process? More about Albany? More about what's happening locally? What about our county? That we'll hear a lot through the budget season about consolidations and mergers. You know, you'll see in one set of studies that these things are helpful and could save money, and another set of studies that show that they don't. So again, it's just getting folks up here who have the knowledge, who actually do the work every day to speak to it. And I think when you're on for 20 or 25 or 28 minutes, you get a sense of sincerity, a sense of honesty, a sense of respect, and also there's no way to run and hide here. There's no commercial break. If somebody's uncomfortable what we're talking about, the only way they can stop the tape is just to get up and leave. So I like that I get to be in the seat. I'm really looking forward to being in this seat. I hope that doesn't scare anyone away from coming on. But I met a tremendous amount of people through the election cycle who impressed me in so many ways, who just love this community, love this country, love what they do, and I would love to have all of you meet them. So that will be a priority for me, and I will work as hard as I can to do that for you. And last but not least, and I really, I'm just sort of teetering here, but I will try to occasionally pick up a book or something that I've read and maybe have some people come in and talk about that. I don't want to get into a lot of esoteric conversations, of course, of people who read something. They're the only ones that are privy to it, and it kind of leaves the rest of the audience out. But if I do come across something that I think is helpful, that I think will make a difference, that is worthy, that creates good discussion, I will definitely make that a centerpiece of a show, and hopefully it'll supplement something else that we do. So that sort of lays out the framework, and I didn't even touch on anything local here in Peekskill other than the Cablevision studios, but there's a lot going on here. There's still a lot of people that are trying to recover or put their lives together after the storm. I think we lost 4 homes permanently, I know in the Cortland for Plank area, and it was just absolutely devastating. And so I think going forward into 2013, I really want to hear from all of you, hear what you have to say, hear with some of the things that you're dealing with and how we can work together to make this community better. So in a nutshell, that's what the Insights with Kim Izzarelli is going to be about. And I will just work every day to do the best that I can for you. Up next, my next guest will be David McKay Wilson, who does the tax watch for Journal News, which has actually been in the news quite a bit itself, the publication. And so in advance, you may want to send me some questions that you would like me to ask him. My personal criticism of the Journal News on these matters is they spend a lot of time focused on salaries and not structurally what needs to be happening in a lot of these budget situations. It's sort of the easy route, in my view, to just talk about maybe the price tag and not talk about what needs to be done to contain the cost to run our government more efficiently, which is a more painful, complex, and involved discussion. So when David's here, I certainly will be pushing him and really pushing him to look more deeply on decision makers and how decisions are being made. So the net, I hope, is that we get better output from that publication, which has been rather disappointing. and I won't even go into the morality of their decisions in the short time that I have left here, but it's really incumbent on all of us to raise the bar and push those in media that deliver services to us. So with that, I will wrap. I will thank you for tuning in today and listening to my list of agenda and what I hope to accomplish. And I thank you for your time, your consideration, and anything that you would like to pass along, please do, feel free. And I am very, very happy to provide you with Kim Izzarelli with insights. Thank you.